welcome back to STEM at Home. I hope that you have been researching and planning your paper airplanes. Remember, we are working on the design thinking process here in STEM. Oh, we have a classmate here. She wanted to say hi. This is Zoe. Zoe loves to do experiments, and she really loves when we do experiments outside, which we're going to get to in a little bit. Okay, Zoe? All right, she's going to join us outside in a little bit. I'm going to put you down. All right, so let's look at the design think process that we talked about last time. We started with imagining, and that is when we come up with our idea. We might have someone present a problem to you, like I did with creating a paper airplane that goes the farthest distance. Or you might have someone that comes to you with a need, and you need to put yourself in their shoes, having empathy. Do you remember that big word? Empathy over what they need. After you have the idea, you plan. So that's what we worked on. We researched, we brainstormed, we jot down ideas. I used my favorite unicorn notes notebook, and where's my favorite, my favorite pencil with the eraser that's barely there. And I jotted down some notes of things that I was researching, whether I looked it up online or I interviewed and asked people. So here's some things that I learned. Ready for our light bulb moment? Here's some things I learned when I did my research, and I wrote it over here on this poster so that you could see it. So some things I discovered when I was researching and planning in that stage was that when you make a paper airplane, it really helps if you have nice, crisp folds. So when you fold, let me get a piece of paper here. When you fold a piece of paper, it helps to have a straight edge. So here's a piece of paper. Oh, I think I have two here. Okay. And I'm going to fold it in half, let's say. Well, to get a really nice crisp edge, you can use something as a straight edge. I like having rulers, but I didn't have a ruler at my house. So you can use anything that has a straight edge. So here's a book. It's a dot-to-dot book I have. And I can use that to help me make smooth, straight edges to fold on. Because even though I don't have a ruler, I have something with a nice straight edge, okay? So that helps to make crisp edges. So I learned that, crisp folds. I also learned that it helps to have symmetrical sides. Symmetrical means the folds on both sides of the plane are equal or the same. They look the same. So when I fold one side in, I try to fold the other side in the same way. And sometimes that meant that I would fold gently and not crease all the way down and make sure it's really the fold I want before I make it nice and crisp. I learned about things being aerodynamic. If it's aerodynamic, what that means is that it can push past all those air molecules that are in the way really easily. We can't see the air. You can't see the air. But take your hand, or if you have a piece of paper, and wave it in front of your face. Do you feel those air molecules bumping? Feels cool because they're touching your face and taking some of your heat through conduction. So you can feel them even though our eyeballs can't see them. So when I make the nose, the tip of my plane, very pointed, it's more aerodynamic, and it'll push through those air molecules easier and go a further distance. Then I learned a few other pretty cool tricks. I learned that sometimes when I would throw my plane, it would stall out. And what that means is it would go up and then kind of dive down right away. So I learned through some research and planning some ways to adjust for that. One thing you can do is you can curve down the back wings. If you curve down the back wings, it helps prevent stall. Another tip is to put a paper clip on the nose. I also learned that sometimes when I threw my plane, it right away nosedived, just went straight down. So a way to adjust for that, if your plane's doing that, is you can curve your back wings up. So those are some pretty cool tips I learned of how to adjust. Now remember, how you throw the plane, your force applied, is very important. And one thing I learned through my research was that a smooth straight pushing motion was the best way to get enough distance on your plane. So you're going to join me in a second. We're going to hit the pause button and collect our airplanes, and we're going to head outside to throw our planes. So I want you to, when I say to hit the pause button, go get the paper airplanes that you have made. Ready? Hit the pause button. Hi guys, thanks for coming back. I have my daughter Lily here. Say hi.
Hi.
And Zoe. Come on in, Zoe. Hi, baby. And we have our planes that we have created. So, Lily, do you want to tell the class a little bit about how you made your plane? Speak nice and loud.
So I went on a YouTube video and I folded it all, and then it wasn't staying good together, so I put some paper clips on it. Right?
Very good. And I made two different ones. We're going to try them out. I'm not sure. I remember my tips about maybe having to change the angle of the angle of the wings. Now we're outside, and if you choose to throw your airplanes outside, you have more air resistance and wind. So the first thing you want to do is kind of notice which way the wind's blowing. So it's kind of going this way because I can feel my hair. So we're going to throw it into the wind so we're not working against it. Okay? And remember, you can do many tries, and once you have it down just the way you like, then you can say that's your launch. But I'm going to try a few times. So you want to go first? All right, so try to do a straight pushing motion. Oh, that's pretty good. Let me see this one. Oh, that was a good one. All right, here's this one. Oh, so that we come on over here. Zoe went into the barn. Those were pretty close, weren't they?
Yeah.
So let's get our planes. This one went pretty well. I might not change that. Notice that I have two paper clips at the front. I added those because it kept nosediving, and I also wanted to add some weight since we were doing it outside. I knew the wind, you see that, would be blowing, and I needed a little extra weight so that it didn't get affected as easily by the wind. It would not have those air molecules pushing it around. This one I maybe put, which one went better? I can't remember now. This one didn't go as far, right? I added maybe too many paper clips. I was worried about it coming apart. I think I'm going to modify mine a little bit, and I'm going to put this paper clip at the nose, but I'm going to take the ones off at the back. I'm going to try that. What are you going to do? Are you going to keep yours the same, or are you going to modify it? A little louder.
I'm going to put one
At the back. Okay. So let's come back over here. Safety first. Make sure we don't hit Zoe. All right, baby. Are you going to throw a plane too? No, she's not going to throw a plane. All right, you go first. Oh, did you see that? You had a spiral there. All right. We got the wind going here. All right, there we go. Zoe's got Okay, and we're gonna see what our furthest distance is. If you don't have a ruler at home, you can measure your steps with your feet and use that as a benchmark. Or you can look and see if you have markings on the ground, like concrete markings, and count how many those are and figure out how long one is. Use that as a benchmark measurement. And there's even some apps on your phones and your smartphones and iPads and stuff like that to measure distance as you walk it, like a pedometer. So however you want to do it to get an idea of how far it went, or even just measuring against, make a mark on the ground with like chalk. I like to do it outside because I was hoping it would go really far and I didn't want the walls in the way. Plus it's just a beautiful day outside and there's science everywhere outside. I had a really fun time with our first STEM challenge. Remember, you can send in your videos to the site and I would love to see what you create in your paper airplanes. See you next time.